ex-husband, or simply ex-husband, burned down the house. And unfortunately, those stories prove about the mother being killed, if it's the mother that was caught.
Are you two together? That was brilliant.
It's kind of romantic, isn't it?
That's incredible.
Everlasting love.
That was incredible.
Hey, buddy, how you doing? Hello, everyone.
All right, how's it going? Wow, that was a lot.
It was a lot, and for everyone listening on the podcast, on your audio, wherever you're listening to us from, we have got a lot of ads at the beginning at the moment, so that's what those were. If you want to see what those videos were about, come on to YouTube, Through the Lens of Bryan and Lex, check them out for yourself. But I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Lex. This beautiful, bald but hat-wearing guy on my right-hand side is none other than Bryan-jon.
Always the ball joke. Always the ball joke. Yeah, it's okay. It's okay.
I apologize.
So, what's going on? Like, I know, like, there's a lot going on right now. Like, these videos are like all these videos that are coming out. The latest promo videos for the Global Ghost Hunt. There's like, there's 25 coming out over the next couple of weeks. I seem to be doing 2 a day. But yeah, the latest promo is great. And the one that we just showed right now is for the group we have on today.
Yes,
Abyss Paranormal. Yes. So there's a lot going on. We're 2 weeks away. What are we, 2 weeks away? Yeah, I think we're 2 weeks away from the Global Ghost Hunt. Yeah. So it's going to be a lot of fun. There's a lot of investigations. There's a lot going on. It's going to be a busy 10 days. I'm hoping that I'm going to get out to an investigation that I definitely am looking forward to. That's with Todd and Marissa, Hinsdale House. I'm going to go out to and investigate with them. They invited me. Hinsdale House is a little bit of a distance for me, but Hinsdale House, for God's sakes.
I mean, what? Yeah, you have to do it.
I have to do it. But the only problem is every time I cross the border, like, honestly, I shouldn't get nervous crossing the border. Like, I generally don't I'm not a nervous person, but I get nervous when I'm going to the border because they make you nervous. Like,
do you feel like you've done something wrong?
They ask me a bunch of questions while I'm sitting there in my car, and then what they do is, if you're going to be going into the office, they put your passport into an orange bag and zip it up. It's like, okay, what's going to happen now? So then you get sent into the office, and then they ask you 400 questions. 400 questions over and over and over again. And they'll ask you about they'll ask you one question 15 different ways to try to catch you in a lie. Dude, all I'm doing is going across and filming a location. I don't understand what the big deal is. Like, I'm not going to be causing World War III.
Do they do that thing where you tell them that you're filming ghost hunting videos and they go, right, so you believe in ghosts, do you? Uh-huh. And you go, and then you just go, do you believe in Jesus? Prove one. And
It's
then they're
very
like, okay.
it's very I never used to be scared going across the border. Like never, ever. But ever since what happened, near the end of COVID,
Mm.
and they turned me around and said, you're not allowed in here. It's like, now I'm scared every single time to go there, to go across. Homeland security in the state is horrible. Right off the bat. When I went to the UK last year, he asked me what I was doing there, and I told him, and he said, wow, have a great time. And that was it.
Well, that's the UK for you.
I don't.
We are
And
very
Canada's
easy.
not even that. I don't even think Canada's that bad. Like if you're coming from the States to Canada, I don't think it's bad at all.
Oh,
It's
really?
just the Americans.
They don't trust you.
The American border is horrible. I love Americans personally. I have a lot of friends that are Americans, but yeah, it's horrible. So should we tell people where we're streaming to if they're listening to the podcast right now?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're on about we're on so many pages right now. Should I say the main ones?
Say the main one.
We're on Parapost Network Central is the main one. The second main one is YouTube, Through the Lens with Bryan and Lex. And we're also on Paralinks. And if you're unfamiliar with Paralinks, you must be living under a rock. This is, obviously very popular. And so we're streaming on those 3 pages. We're also streaming on Huntophobia Canada. We're also streaming on Parapost 2 International. Where else? Oh, and I haven't told you this, but we're now streaming on Twitter.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Now that I didn't know about.
Yes, and that started about 3 weeks ago.
Oh, that's cool. I didn't know that.
I didn't tell you. So if you go over to the Twitter page on Huntophobia and see if we're live right now, or I don't know how they do it, if it's live or it's going to go up once the show is done.
No, it's live now. I've got it here.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't know. I can't see it because my background, but you can see us.
Yeah,
That's
we're
so cool.
that started about 3 weeks ago. I've been meaning
Time
to
to
tell you that. I forget every show.
Probably retweet that.
Yes. So we're on Twitter now as well, which is great. And
That's crazy.
I didn't realize because they had at one point they had what was the live feed that they had going through Twitter? It was some app.
I have no idea.
Periscope. Originally it was Periscope, and then they got rid of Periscope, and now they have live. And now is that because Elon?
I would hazard a guess. Yes.
Oh, Ghost Trackers UK's in the room. There's a lot of people in the room.
There is.
Let's go through some of these people before we bring up our guest today. And there's 2, 4, 6 people coming up today.
Mm-hmm. We got a big group.
There's Rosanna. Hi, Rosanna. Always nice
Rosanna.
to see you. I don't think I've seen this person before.
It's a me.
Oh, it's Liz.
Mario.
Liz from
Liz.
Abyss Paranormal. Okay. There's Courtney. Hi, Courtney. There's Georgia. Hello.
How you doing?
And there's Matt, of course, I'm sure he's got his book.
Captain Plagiarism.
Yeah. Yeah, he's got his book ready. Oh, and just to make, she said hi to you too.
Hey.
Rosanna said hi to you. And there's Drew.
Hi, Drew.
Or Adriana. I don't know why she goes by
words.
Drew. I like Adriana better than Drew.
Because it's easier to say, probably.
Yeah, maybe.
I mean, imagine it.
I haven't seen you, Bryan, on Patty last live. You know what? I didn't realize she did one, and because I'm not getting the notifications for her page, and I don't know why. She's had that problem with a lot of people not getting the notification. There's Anthony. Hi, Anthony. Thank you for coming in, buddy. And here's Nicole. Now, just to let everybody know, Nicole has a show up on Parapost Network Central. You should check that show out. I believe she's on Mondays. And also Anthony also has a show on Parapost Network and Parapost 2 as well. And sorry, Drew. Drew also has a show. She's with Chris Mule, and it's on Parapost as well, both channels. They had a show. They had Jenny Sullivan on last night, so I was able to watch a little bit of that. There you go. Yeah, it is scary, Nicole. I think they scare you on purpose.
Hold the press. Ken
What's
Allen is in the building.
Uh-oh.
Ken Allen is in the chat. Been a little while again, my friend. Hello.
Is Scott Lee Bowers in the room?
Hey, Scott.
Nice seeing you. Raymond is in the room, as always. Thank you,
How you doing,
Raymond, for
Ray?
coming in.
I'm glad he's here for the segment bit at the end, actually.
Yeah. So where's Ken? There he is.
Underneath Drew.
So something funny happened the other day before we get into what you've been doing. So I was on Matt's first Paraverse show on Wednesday. So we were talking about raising money. We were talking about, I don't know how this subject came up. I think Jen Jacobs said something. In fact, she did say something about auctioning me off.
Wow.
To raise money for Matt so he can stay longer in New Orleans.
I think that's a good idea.
Yeah. So, Matt brought it to the attention of Ken Allen on Friday night on his show with Brian James. They have a show on Friday nights. Was it Friday or Thursday? I think it was Thursday, actually. Called Haunts Hollywood, and they do the show together. And I want to let people know, from what I understand, Ken Allen and Queen Bee are coming back with their show, The Wizard's Table, hopefully soon, which is also shown on Parapost Network Central. See, I'm doing it all today. You know why I'm saying all these names and saying all these shows is because I was watching Matt and Don Vick last night talking about sharing out the shows and stuff like that, and really trying to get people to really come together and really start sharing these shows out. And I thought it was great. So Hollywood Haunts, there you go. Thank you. It's not Haunts Hollywood. Sorry, my apologies. So it stuck to me because we're kind of I don't want to say we're the leaders of this page, but I am the owner of this page and I should be doing it more often. And Matt was right. And Don Vick was right last night on what they said. We need to be calling out these shows a lot more than what we've been doing. And I will also let people know Jay Hill had a show this afternoon, and he's now on Paralinks Plus. So you can watch him over at Paralinks Plus as well. So that's all I'm going to say about that. So I've missed the Wizards Table too, Raymond. And I think Queen Bee and Ken Allen are great together. I think they have a great show. I don't understand a lot of stuff they're saying, but it's still a great show.
I'm with you there, buddy. I'm with you there.
Yeah, Ken Allen. So anyway, I was telling that story, and Ken Allen said that he's got a lot of money and he's going to be making a bid for me. So
I imagine he would.
Yes.
He loves you, Bryan.
And there's Chrissy. Hi, Chrissy.
Chrissy.
Long time no talk. I hope you're doing well.
Listen.
And also, yes, listen. And also, I just want to let people know, and I don't know, are we allowed to say this, Chrissy? Are we allowed to say about the Fear Fest and the dates and stuff like that? Just let me know in the comments, and I will talk about that when I can, maybe closer to the end of the show, if we're allowed to talk about that. So,
and while you're waiting for that confirmation, I just wanted you guys to know that Lex Paranormal did the unthinkable the other day. I dropped a new episode. It's been a very long time. But if you haven't,
what's going on
there?
What happened?
I don't know. You've gone off.
Can you hear me though?
Camera. I can hear you. I can't see you. Your camera's dead. While you fix that, I'm going to self-plug. So, but yeah, while Bryan fixes that, if you haven't seen it already, after this show, if you'd like, head over to Lex Paranormal, my channel, and watch the new episode. And Bryan is in it, as well as the Portal to the Paranormal and the Patrol Paranormal, as we investigated the Merle house. This is part 1 of 3. So feel free to check that out and like and subscribe that and share that out for me. If you can, all support is appreciated. And then come back to this channel, Through the Lens, and like and subscribe that one and catch up on some shows if you're new to the channel, new to the podcast. i.e. And Brian's face, you're back on camera.
Yes.
How are you doing?
I don't know why it does that, but I think it's this little gadget that I have here that I hook up my external hard drives to it, and I also plug in my 2 cameras. And for some reason, I think it's going. I think it's
it's
going
on its way out. Oh, no.
So yeah, Chrissy, if you can put those dates in here, and I will put that up on the screen, because the dates have changed for Oktoberfest, Fear Fest. You know where my mind is. Fear Fest. The dates have changed. It's going to be at the end of September, the beginning of October. So those dates have changed. And Lord, here we go. Dr. Pepper. So, and he's got a monster drink too. So, yeah, I didn't bring a monster drink. I brought this today. The old boring stuff.
The old healthy stuff.
Yes, the old healthy stuff. Yeah. So the dates have changed for Fear Fest. It's going to be at the end of September, beginning of October, instead of near the end of October, which is even better in some ways, because I was going to be away kind of close to the end of Global Ghost Hunt in October. Wow. Because it was I believe it was on the 27th, 28th, and 29th, or somewhere around there. So I was going to be missing part of that, the Global Ghost Hunt, but I was going to be representing, or I still am going to be representing the Global Ghost Hunt at Fear Fest come this September. So we have a group today. Should I talk about before we get started? About the other guests or should I just let it go?
Oh, that didn't. Wait, let's let it go. Let's not give them any airtime. Okay.
So there you go. So here it is. Here it is for Fear Fest. These are the new dates, and the 29th, the 30th, and October 1st for I was going to say Oktoberfest again. What the hell? Where
Keep your mind off the beer.
Fear Fest. So anyhow, yeah. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm going to be a speaker at that event. I still need to find out if I'm going to be a speaker at Ghostorama in June. I haven't heard from Dan. He asked me last year if I wanted to speak, and I said sure. So I need to find out about that. But talk a little bit before we bring on Abyss Paranormal. Talk about your video and that you released on. I know you did a little while ago, but talk about it. Talk about the video and what's going on in the video, so people know, so they can go over and watch it. And when is part 2 coming out? You can say that.
Part 2 will be coming out next Friday.
Okay.
So this was the Merley house. It was day 1 of mine and Brian's UK paranormal travel, I suppose you'd call it. And we met up with Portal to the Paranormal. So Nando, Sarah, Dan, a couple of others for their team. We met up with Rob from the patrol. And the Merley house is awesome. It's in Wimborne, south of the UK. It's awesome. It's a massive mansion. There are pictures of it at the end of the video for those who are interested in looking at the building. But this video is it's a bit of a different format to how I used to do it. I've picked out parts of the investigation that I think were worth checking out and looking at, because obviously we're there for a long time. So the format's a little different, but I picked up some cool stuff. You know, there's a potential few EVPs in there. There's one of them that I chose not to annotate because I want people to comment what they hear, because myself, Rob, and all that have been speaking about it, and we can't decipher it. They're not getting the same thing. So I'm trying to get a collection of answers for that. We've also got myself doing the Estes method in the creepiest basement tunnel you've ever seen.
Yeah.
With a random chair in it.
If you that basement itself was creepy in so many different ways, but that hallway, when you sat, like, I didn't even want to stand in there, to be honest.
No, it was very claustrophobic.
Very. And when you were at the end, I was at one point, I was thinking, wouldn't really surprise me if I saw two hands come out and grab Lex in his head and pull him back.
I mean, when you watch the video, guys, like just look at where I'm sat in the Estes. Behind us is this old, like 1800s wooden door with a giant cross on it, and it's just the frame of the door. But it's all grey and dingy and disgusting, and it made for a really cool shot. I'm not gonna lie, but it was a creepy corridor. But they're just the two main bits I did in this video. I thought it was a good way to start it off. And then part two, we've got some bigger tests in there, and a really cool cameo from a scarecrow thing. So
what's that?
It was part two.
That was brilliant. Cool. Live Lex did last night.
I wasn't live last night. I was at work.
Was that the? What do you mean video Friday? Made it look like it was live.
If you're on about, so if you're thinking of Friday night when I did the release of the video, it was a premiere video. Yeah, so I wasn't actually live. But that would have been cool. Bryan would have got back to Canada very quickly.
Yeah. There you go. There's the link for FearFest in September. Please, if you're in the area or if you're interested in going to New Orleans, this is the best time to be doing it. New Orleans, I've never been to New Orleans, so I'm looking forward to seeing New Orleans and actually doing an investigation there as well. And also Global Ghost Hunt is going to be represented along with Parapost too. But if you can, there's the link. You can just copy and paste that link, put it in your browser and go over and buy some tickets. And if you want to be a vendor, this is the perfect time to do it and get your stuff out there, get your merchandise, get your videos out there, whatever. And I was actually thinking about bringing a TV, like a monitor, and playing some of the videos from the Global Ghost Hunt for May.
That'd be awesome.
And so I'm thinking about doing that. So go over to FearFest, purchase some tickets. They're not expensive, and it's going for a good cause as well. So, okay, people, let me just bring this down. Thank you, Chrissy, for putting that in the room. I appreciate that. So, Abyss Paranormal. They obviously you saw their promo video. They're going to be investigating in Windyville, Missouri. Can I say that? Missouri. And general store and cannery. Yes, cannery. They're also going to be filming some other locations within the area as well. But they are filming the general store. So there's a lot of them here today. There's 6 of them. So when we bring them up, we'll get them to introduce themselves and we'll get going. Okay. You ready, Lex? Here we go.
Ready.
Okay. Here is Abyss Paranormal. Hello. So let's start off with this first. Let's introduce everyone. And so we can get everybody's name. And there will be a test at the end of the show. And people, you have to guess the right person's name. And if you do, you're going to win a shirt. No, I'm just kidding. You're not going to win a shirt. You're going to get applause. So let's introduce everyone. And so we can start doing, so we can start getting to know you.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm Vicky. I'm the founder of Abyss Paranormal, and
I'm Steven.
This is Steven.
I'm Liz.
Jesse.
Andrea.
Gage.
I love that. And I said it before we went live. I love the name Gage. Gage.
Now,
that's a great name. Is that your real name?
Yeah.
Really? Your parents love you. They wanted you to have a cool name growing up because that's an awesome name. That's all I got to say.
Yeah. The little boy that got killed, his name was Gage. So there you go.
Yeah. Well, you see some of these actors that, what's her name?
Where's he gone? Brian.
Oh, no.
Yep,
am I gone?
Back.
Am I back?
You're back.
Okay. So, Gwyneth Paltrow, bring up. She named her kid Apple. Now, that's a kid that's just going to be made fun of the rest of his life. I'm sorry.
I mean, you are talking about the same woman that wanted to sell her bodily fluids online, right?
Yeah.
Did not know that.
She's gross.
Did not know that.
She was great in Iron Man, but she's gross in real life.
Yeah, she just went through a court case too, right?
Yeah, she did. Yeah.
Did she win?
Yeah, she won.
Yeah. I wonder why she won.
She's badass.
Yeah, because she's bad. She bribed the judge with bodily fluids.
I don't think so. The judge.
That's
That's two different people.
Funny.
Let's not confuse them.
Yeah. So go ahead, Lex. You can get us started.
Yeah, so first of all, it's a pleasure to meet all of you, especially from over here on the UK side of things. So thank you very much for giving us your time today. I want to start off with your each individual experiences of what got you what introduced you to the paranormal? What experience did you have that woke you up to this side of things?
Well, I guess I'll kind of start off. I kind of was always around paranormal. I grew up on stories of paranormal experiences my grandmother had had and my mom and things. And then over the years, I learned I was a dreamer and an empath and things. But when I was about 15, I was going through a rough patch in life, and I'm trying to make a short story out of a long story.
That's okay.
I ended up seeing my grandmother. She appeared to me. She had passed away like 4 months prior to this. And I mean, it was for quite a few seconds. And I first felt a hand on my shoulder. I thought it was my mom. And I looked around and I could still feel the hand, but I couldn't see it. And then when I turned forward in the mirror, my grandma was standing behind me. And I turned back and she's not there. And I do this and she was there. And then all of a sudden the hand moved and she was gone. And it was just a few seconds later, my mom come running in and she said, "How long have you been sitting there?" And I said, "About 2 hours. And she had almost experienced the same thing. She felt the hand. She thought it was me. And, but when she turned around, nobody was there. And she said she could still feel the hand. So it made me realize that I had really seen it, because it wasn't just me. My mom had experienced it also.
Oh, that's really
And it just, over all the years prior to this, I had seen things and I was like, did I see that? But I was still skeptical, about it. But after that experience, within, I think it was 3 or 4 weeks, I had my first investigation, which consisted of going to a house that I had already seen somebody in the backyard. And I took a flashlight and a cassette tape recorder. And that was my first investigation.
Wow.
But,
Gotta start somewhere.
yeah, I was very stupid. I lied to my parents about where I was going. And I went to a very dangerous location at 3 o'clock in the morning. And I was
Wow.
16. So,
Wow.
yeah.
That's where it all began. And Stephen, what about you? See, I'm getting the names right. It's Vicky, Stephen, Liz, Jesse, and the middle one I didn't hear.
Andrea,
and then
Lex got it.
and then obviously Gage. I'm going to say it like that. Gage. Okay, go ahead, Stephen.
Call him Jesus.
He takes his ponytail out and he looks like Jesus.
Or Thor. Yeah.
So, Stephen, what about you?
I've never really had a paranormal experience yet.
So you were just, so let me get this straight. You were probably just saying, you know what? We like you. You're going to be part of this team. So whether you like it or not. So because you got good aura around you, right? You seem like you have a good aura around you.
Oh, okay. I mostly got interested in it by reading books about it, like kid books about it. And that's how I got interested.
That's cool. What about you, Liz?
His partner was already a member
and that's how
of our team.
Okay.
And so when they got together, he joined in.
Okay. That makes a lot of sense. And Liz, what about you?
I'm an atheist that doesn't believe in the paranormal, so I'm kind of out.
Wonderful, the skeptic.
What a team.
It's great to have on your team. It's
Yeah.
great to have on your team.
Yeah.
I am open to it. I am not one who's going to be all like, like, oh, that's right in front of my face. Let's just ignore that.
Yeah.
No, I kind of hope that I, kind of get the, what is it called? The ghost right in front of your
Yeah,
face.
that's
The
what I
golden.
want.
What is it called?
So let me ask you this: when let's say you guys are doing an EVP session, like a recording, and you capture a EVP, what is the first thing you think about, Liz? Like, do you go, "Oh, well, that must be somebody outside," or
Yes,
is
very quickly. I'm like, who was talking?
Yeah, who's talking?
okay.
So I
Yeah.
a lot of times if it's something that's questionable for me, like if it's not so easily debunked, I will literally have somebody stand over here to the side and be like, hey, do me a favor and whisper with this, so I can kind of compare voices and
Okay.
and tone and that sort of thing. So
I think, you know what, and I know some people will disagree with this, but I think it's an amazing thing to have on a team is a skeptic, because they will do everything and anything to see if try to debunk it, and
Yes.
and put things in perspective, and because I don't know about you, Lex, but I think it's perfect to have a skeptic on your team. I really do.
Well, I've got a resident skeptic. In my earlier videos, my best friend didn't believe in it. He now does because he's been out with me a number of times. But he really didn't believe in it when he started doing videos with me. And I loved having that on the team because I think it keeps you level-headed as well. I think that's the best thing because as investigators, we're very quick to jump. Yeah. And sometimes in the excitement of everything, we will latch on to that must be it. That must be it. So having someone there to be like, well, actually, let's look at this properly. And then if you still can't explain it, you don't have to say it's paranormal. You just can't explain it. But for the investigator, they're like, okay, I can probably say it's paranormal because we can't explain it and you can't explain it. But it's good. I think the dynamic of the team is perfect. I think every team should have a skeptic, personally.
Right.
Yeah, I do too. And Jesse, what about you? Sorry, Vicky, go ahead.
Liz's husband is not here today, but he is our main tech man.
Okay.
He is also atheist. And he has had some eye-opening things, as far as EVPs and things, because he analyzes our evidence. And so it's good to have. And I'm really glad that we have skeptic.
It's actually quite humorous to watch him be shocked. Because he will literally start like, oh my God,
Probably at 2:30 in the morning. I heard something. Listen to that.
Yeah, those are those great moments that you don't. As soon as you pick something up, whether it's through your camera or your voice recording, the first thing you want to do is you want to contact somebody from your team and go, holy crap, listen to this. But my not getting off of what Lex has his question, but what I want to ask you, Liz, because you are an atheist, what drove you to join the group knowing that you are a skeptic?
It's a fascination. I kind of want to be proven wrong a little bit. I kind of want to know if there is anything after this life because, as an atheist, I believe there's not. I believe we just, we turned it up.
One and done.
Yes. And I would like the idea. I mean, I would hope that there's reincarnation. That's what I'm hoping to find out, that reincarnation is real, that I have another chance at this life and to do better and that sort of thing. But evidence is on the contrary. So until I get solid proof, which is what I'm here for.
What about Lex? What about that story? That story of the young boy that said he was reincarnated and he knows his prior life. He actually went to where was he from? What was that full story? Do you know what story I'm talking about?
I can't remember where I know he's in America.
Okay.
But he's like he's like 10 years old or something like that, and he picked out a photograph of himself and his mother from like 150 years ago or something like that, and he knew the address and he spoke about the layout of the house, but he'd never been there, like the exact room to room. There's a whole documentation of it. It's quite cool.
Yeah.
Several documentations.
What about you, Jesse?
I go with my first experience being the haunted playroom at the Blue House.
Okay,
He lived in a haunted house.
that's great.
We lived in a
Gold
haunted.
mine.
Thank you.
That's
now,
awesome.
you need to know this, Bryan. Jesse
Okay.
is my son.
I kind of figured after what he said.
Yeah, he is
That's
my
great.
oldest son. And the experience he's talking about is, I'll just try to do short on this one. We had a playroom upstairs, and we always felt like the toys was being moved around and
6 foot white
things.
teddy bears were being moved.
But one morning I went upstairs to wake him up for school, and he had locked himself in the bathroom and was afraid to come out because he knew something was out there. And yeah, I knew the room was haunted. I didn't think it would hurt the kids. But anyway, when that happened to him, he knew that things did exist. He had seen stuff, and
So he's a big believer.
he's a believer, but he is still, he will go over things and, well, what about this? Could it be this? And, and we all do that. We want to make sure before we say that it is. And we've got stuff that we can't determine exactly what it is. We cannot debunk it, but we can't say what it is. And we have a file that we call our file, and that's what we put it in. And when we do reveals, it's always that we always give our client a thumbnail, not a thumbnail, but a thumb drive of any evidence that we had, any EVPs or video or pictures. And then at the very end of it, we have our and we say, no, we found this. We don't know what it is. We can't say what it is. But here you go. You got it. And you guys make your own determination.
Just to let people know in the room, this team, they do have a YouTube channel. So if you want to go over to their YouTube, that'd be great. If you want to go to their Facebook, that would be awesome too. The link is in the description. But this team does a lot more private residentials than going to abandoned haunted places. So just to let people know.
Right. About 90% of what we do is private residential.
And, keeping that in mind, a lot of times when you have paranormal investigation teams going out there and investigating these private locations, most of the time people don't want their stuff up on YouTube or Facebook, which obviously we respect. Like I was talking about an investigation I did last year at a private residence, and for multiple reasons why she didn't want to release it was a lot more embarrassment than anything, because of what was happening to her. Anyways, so Lex, you want to continue on with your question there?
We're still going around the group.
Yes, I know.
And I got Andrea. How about yourself?
Hello. I've mainly read about the paranormal like Stephen as a kid. I didn't have any experiences until I joined with the group. I just happened to be at the right place at the right time to discover the group at a store with a mutual friend owned.
Awesome.
And the rest is history. I have been touched. I've never been scared yet. And that's basically it. I'm still new.
Not been scared yet.
Yes.
I like that
Yes.
one. Not
Yet
yet.
is a big word.
It's
I know
coming.
That is
there's
a big
things
word.
out there that we've dealt with before, just touching on, and I have a lot of respect for that. And I will not hesitate if I'm not the one up to the task. I know who to contact.
Yeah, I think she needs to go to a really, 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 really haunted asylum.
No.
And let's see if her attitude changes.
Go to the hill. You need to go to the hill house.
Yeah, guys, I'm not going to be able to make it this week.
I'm ready to go. Let's go to what is it? Waverly Hills.
There you go.
Let's go.
Go ahead, Lex.
Where's that at?
And then that brings us round to you, Gage. What's your story, man?
Ooh, you said that. See, now it's nicer when somebody from the UK says your name. I'm Canadian, and when I say it, it doesn't sound as nice.
Well, I'm haven't got an experience yet. This is my Mima, and I joined through the group through her. I grew up around the paranormal and hearing stories about it, so it piques my interest. So I'm here.
There you
go.
go.
Still, so there's a
There's
few in
a
this group that still need to
short
have
story,
something.
right to the point. I like it. I like it for sure.
Well, I don't know if
Here.
you caught it, but he is my grandson.
Yes, I
Hey,
did.
yeah, we
Yeah,
got it.
He
and
calls you,
so,
he calls you Meemaw, right? Is that what he
yes,
said? He
yeah,
said Meemaw,
I'm his
right?
Meemaw. Yeah,
Okay.
I'm his
Okay.
Meemaw. And
I love it. I love it. This big, huge guy, is sitting beside you, and he's calling you Meemaw. It
yes,
just doesn't look right.
he is
But I
my
love it. It's great.
grandfather's.
It's great. It's great. So let me ask you this, and anybody can answer this if you want. What has been your latest investigation or something that might be coming up in the future that you'd like to talk about? That you can talk about, actually.
Okay, well, our last investigation was just not quite a month ago, and it was a private residence. But believe it or not, she is the first one in many years that said we could run video and we could put it out. She didn't care.
Awesome.
And I haven't done the reveal yet. Matter of fact, we was supposed to have done it yesterday, but she had to work, so she put it off for another week. And next Saturday, it's a couple hours away from where we are, so it's a trip, and we can't go down in the middle of the week because we all have jobs and things.
Yeah.
You know, we have a life. You know,
Life,
lots of
priorities,
paranormal.
unfortunately.
And but this one consisted of when she first contacted me, that she was having dreams of being chased, and then when she woke up and she didn't know by what, and she never knew exactly where she was at being chased, but she had scratches. She had like finger round bruises on her hands.
Something got in a shower with her.
Yeah, before we actually made it down to investigate, because she's a couple hours away, she calls me up and she said, "It got in the shower with me." And I said, "What did you do?" And she said, "I told it to get out, I didn't want it taking a shower with me." And I said, and she said, "It got out, but it stood outside the shower. And when she got out of the shower, it was still there." And you got to understand, she said the bathroom was cold. And I'm thinking, well, you take a hot shower, you climb out, and it's going to be kind of cool. We got down there. This woman keeps it 80 degrees in her house.
Oh,
So
wow,
when
that's
she
hot.
said it was cold, it had to have been cold. You
Yeah.
know?
Is it weird when you said the shower thing? I was thinking, can you do my back, please? Is it weird that I was thinking that?
Right.
Is it weird that I was thinking that? Yeah.
They heard banging in the house and they felt watched. She has a roommate. He had experienced some of this too. When we got down there, we haven't done the reveal, so I'm not going to say anything that we did find. But we got down there and we started back. We also, the town that she's in back, and it so happens it's the same year that the house was built that she's in, and it's 100 years old. There was an explosion in a dance hall and 39 people was killed. And 19 of them was burnt and blown up so bad they couldn't identify him. But they had 19 bodies for 19 missing people. So they knew where they were, but they couldn't identify for sure who each one was. So the town got together and they buried him in a mass grave in the cemetery there. And there's a big memorial. This cemetery is 1 block from their house. You can look out her front door and see it.
Okay.
And so we kind of went by there and checked it out. And then we felt that possibly this is some of what they were dealing with. But it was a good investigation, and we will be putting a video out of it because and we're going to go from beginning to end. We videotape the interview with her. And when we go down and do the reveal, we're going to tape it too. So everybody can see what we do.
Yeah. So are you going to be putting that onto YouTube
YouTube.
and
I'll put
Facebook?
it on YouTube,
So
and then
when you let me know, when you have it out, let me know,
okay.
and I will make sure that gets shared out so people can go over and watch your video. Okay. So
All right.
I will put it on to the Huntophobia Canada page. I'll put it on Parapost Network and make sure that video gets seen because there's nothing better, in my opinion. There's a lot of great places out there, like abandoned places, but there's nothing better than a private residence. For me personally, I think it's the unexpected.
Right.
You never know what you're going to get. Now, when you go into these asylums and like the Waverly Hills or the Penhurst, you kind of know what to expect. But when you're going into a private residence, you have no clue what's going to happen. You can go off to what the owner has said, but you know, something else could come up that they've never seen or they've never heard or whatever. And that's why I love private residences. Lex, I think you had an opportunity at one point to investigate a private residence, right? Whatever happened to that?
Yes, they just moved, so I didn't get a chance to do it. Yeah,
there you go.
They kept putting it off. So I'm hoping, I'm looking forward to doing my first one. I am hoping that someone reaches out to me at some point soon. I mean, obviously, I'm doing a residence in September, but unfortunately, it's a very famous property. So
yeah.
But we'll have to see. But hopefully, I'll get there. I do agree, though. I do think maybe it's the unknown that makes it more appealing. I also think it's the there's a bit more of a safer aspect for you because you're going somewhere where they're not going to be riddled with probably homeless people hiding in every corner or any threats like that. So the only thing you're really, really having to deal with is the spiritual stuff rather than the human stuff. So that might make it better too.
I think also, particularly this case that I did last year, I think it meant a lot more to me because of what she was going through and me trying to go in there to try to get her some answers and try to get her some help. You know, I'm really the type of investigator, and we spoke about this before the show. I'm really the type of investigator that will sit down a family if I'm at a private residence and say, listen, this is what you need to do. You need to sit down as a family and just basically say, listen, you are not welcome here. I did not invite you here, and you need to leave. And you have to be firm about it. You don't go, we don't want you here anymore, so can you please leave? No, it's not like that. You need to be firm. You need to set the ground rules. And if they're not, then you're going to take more steps to get rid of them. And I think if you do that, I personally think 9 times out of 10, they are going to leave. They are going to leave. For example, the house that I did last year, they sat down as a family. I told them, I said what they should say. They did. The actual owner of the house, she was yelling so loudly, she almost started to cry because she was yelling so loudly that she wanted them out. And I went back upstairs and did another EVP recording. And I said, are you going to leave? And I captured yes.
Sweet. Wow.
And which was phenomenal. And she hasn't had any problems since.
Excellent.
Which is great. And that's why I love them so much as well, because if you're going in there and you get the answers, you help them. When you're walking away, you can have your chin up in the air and go, you know what? That was a fantastic investigation. We helped this person out, and now they can move on with their lives and not worry about it anymore. And that's why I think it's so important when people are going into these private residences, you go in there with the intent of helping them get rid of it, just not going there to do an investigation and go, okay, well, we caught something, see you later. You know, it's just,
this is what it is, and good luck.
yeah. By the way, you got 15 spirits in here. Good luck with that. Oh, my camera again.
Just let you know. Yeah.
What is going on with my camera?
There we go. You're back.
There you go.
Yeah. So, anyways, is this my question? No, it's your question, Lex.
My turn. So this one is going to be a fun one for me because I'm going to direct it first at the skeptics on the team. So we can see there is a lot of technology and trinkets and toys in our field of investigation. I'm sure you've seen more than I've seen as many as I have. But is there a particular piece of equipment that you see being used that you would consider being like the best for you, that you really enjoy using that?
I like the thermal or the SLS. I feel like it's more affirming than most other things because I feel like a lot of things can be misunderstood, misconstrued. I feel like the SLS or the thermal is something tangent right in front of you that, you know, it's a piece of equipment that can't be disputed, really. So.
Nice. And everyone else in the group, feel free.
Well, I don't have one I necessarily like, but I tell you one I don't like is the spirit box because it just drives me up the wall.
We have the SB7 and the noise just drives him crazy.
Me and Jesse aren't going to get along at all.
No. I'll say something funny at the end of this little bit for you as well. It's quite good. Anyone else?
Anybody else that's got a piece of favorite equipment that they like to use? Now, we do a lot of old school. We do a lot of experiments. Like I was recently, or we were recently gifted a yes and no coin. I don't know. Do you guys know what those are?
I do. Yes.
Okay. And those are fairly heavy. You can use it 2 different ways. You can spin it on a table or you can flip it. And what we did at this last investigation, and Stephen took a handheld, and we have a stationary cameras in the rooms. Gage just handed it to me. That's a yes and no coin. It's in a plastic case here. But I work dowsing rods. I make my own dowsing rods. My grandfather was a water witch, and I just prefer to use the kind. I kind of changed it for me, but I worked the dowsing rods, and Liz sat behind me, and I'd ask the question, and she would hold the coin and think on the question as we was holding it. And she would flip the coin after I asked the question, and we would see if the answers coincided. I asked 25 questions, and out of the 25 questions, they only gave us the same answer 11 times.
Oh, wow.
Now, we are doing the Global Ghost Hunt.
Yes.
I believe we're supposed to show on the 14th of May.
You are?
We will be doing an experiment with this, but we're going to spin it instead of flip it, just to see if there's any difference. She said it was very awkward to try to flip this because the coin is heavy.
Yeah.
And so we'll just see if there's any difference. Also, I think we may put it up against a pendulum that's on a pendulum stand and do that. But I've done a lot of old school stuff. Like if somebody says that they have seen some spirit walking through a doorway, I'll hang wind chimes down. Or I'll hang weighted mylar strips, something in the doorway and we'll put a camera on it just in case. I've even been known, if they've said they've heard someone walking in the hallway, as long as it's not carpeted, I'll put flour or baby powder down. I try to work old school stuff in with the modern stuff. I have used the rods and walked in, and Andrea has used the K2 and a gauze meter and walked beside me to see if they all reacted at the same time, and they do.
Yeah.
The rods.
Lex, you should tell her about, and they could probably try this, that the experiment that Portal to the Paranormal does that we did at the 1940s tea room, that I think they would really like and probably can do it that night as well. There's a really, really cool thing that we did, and Lex will explain it. You guys might be interested in doing this because it is definitely, it's very old school. It's very you don't. It's really, really super cool. So why don't you explain to them what that is, Lex?
Yeah, so we got the pleasure of doing something called the glass and marble, which is very, very, very old-fashioned way of investigating, and it's very simple. They used a glass and a marble on a flat table, and you rest the marble so it's dead center when you put the glass over the top, and everyone holds onto the glass. So again, you're doing that energy transference thing like you would do with a Ouija board planchette and stuff like that. Everyone's touching it. But you're not moving it. So as long as no one knocks the table, the marble shouldn't move.
Right.
And we got the chance to see it happen firsthand, where we asked a question that required the marble to move, to say yes, and the marble did just move straight to the side of the glass. And we did the normal thing. Did someone knock the table? Are we on a slant? But then it was doing something really cool. We asked it to turn the marble without moving it. And you could see you could see it on camera. You can see the marble was turning itself over in the corner of the glass. So
interesting.
Yeah, it was. I've never seen it done before.
And the best thing to you. Sorry, Lex. The best thing to you is a marble that you would put a fluorescent light on, so the marble will light up. And it will stay glowing for a while, and then you can have your camera on it or whatever in the dark, and you can. It's really super cool. Like it was moving, but it was moving very, very slowly. And there was no way, and the reason you have the glass on top of it, so nobody's touching it.
Right.
So, and the marble was standing still, but it was moving in a circle,
moving around,
and it was so cool and I would have to say that is very old school and very simple with a glass and a marble and a flat surface, and if you get that marble to move. Maybe that will get Liz to believe.
She's trying to figure out what happened to cause that to happen.
I can see mine. I don't know if you're able to see it on camera. Hang on. So it's too far away. Never mind. I've got the power. They gave me one of theirs with a painted glass, and I've got it sat on a shelf up there with the marble still inside it.
I don't know where mine is. I had one. But what about Stephen? What would be your go-to if you wanted to reach for your bag and get a piece of it?
I like the K2 meter, and I also just like watching Vicky work these things.
My rods.
Yeah.
She likes to watch me work the rods.
Because she will even tell you when she's moved it herself.
I can feel it.
And
I can feel the energy in my hands.
Yeah.
I made these. These are 8-inch incense sticks containers. And I drilled a hole in the middle. And then directly in the bottom, I glued a rubber washer. And I used coat hangers. My grandpa, if he did not have a willow branch to use off of the property when he would find water, if they did not have a willow tree to use a willow branch, he used 2 pop bottles and coat hangers. So that's where I kind of implemented what I had seen him do over the years. I put this in and I make sure that it goes into the hole of the washer. That way, there's no way this bottom can, if it's not in there, it moves around. If it's in there, it doesn't move around.
So that avoids you actually having to hold it.
Right. And I can set it up now. This, with the rods being so long, I guess I could shorten them some. It kind of makes it top heavy. Maybe if I put something on the bottom, it would weight it down and be able to hold it up. But I could set them flat on the table. And I'm a firm believer that the energy from my body holding it kind of helps them work the rods in answering me. And I can literally tell usually ahead of time whether the rods are going to move and it say yes or no. I can feel it in my hands.
And move like this.
Yeah, and all of a sudden one of them will just jump, or something. It's really odd. But anyway, Stephen he has a tendency of wanting to run the camera when I work the rods so we can see if anything happens. But
Yeah, that's really super cool. I love that. It takes away from people
well,
actually
there's
saying that you're moving it.
if I move it, you're going to see it.
Yeah.
Because of the way that you're holding it as big as they are, there's no way that you can move it, manipulate it, or anything without it being seen. And that's why I use them.
And you'll even admit that you've moved.
And if
So,
I'm holding them on my legs instead of a table, if my leg jumps, or I'll say, hold on, that was me. It wasn't that, my leg jumped or something, but there's no way I could even try to manipulate the rods and not be seen.
That's amazing. That's awesome. I love that. And you know what? Very simple. You don't have to go out and spend thousands of dollars on equipment.
Right.
When, you can do something like that, or like what Lex was talking about with the glass and the marble. And Raymond's down here saying he's going to tweak it a little bit and put a cat ball in the glass, or for the glass thing. But it's great. So just moving on to the next. Actually, we never got Gage. Did Gage answer that question of yours, Lex?
He's shaking his head no.
No, you were asking me.
Do you have a favorite? Yeah, I was asking you, Stephen. Do you have a favorite piece of equipment? Gage?
Probably the rods.
The rods?
I like the rods.
Yeah, that's great.
Gage
that's
has
awesome.
been using the rods off and on too. He has seen them with me, and he
that's great. So, as people know, you're part of the Global Ghost Hunt this year for May. Your actual video is going to be going up on May 14th between 7 and 9 Eastern. So why don't you talk a little bit about your investigation, where you're going to do your investigation for the Global Ghost Hunt. Talk a little bit about the general store and the other few places that you're planning to do that night as well.
Right. The general store and the cannery are owned by the same person. The general store has been redid. They used everything is for the period, and they used as much as materials. The general store was in really bad shape, and they had to redo it. She also made it a bed and breakfast. And so she rents it out. It has a history. Now, in behind it is an old tomato cannery, and it has a history. There has been a lot of groups that has went in there, but not as. That's one of the reasons that we chose to this spot is I want to get it out there. I want people to learn it. For her, she's put a lot of money into it and things, and she doesn't live there. She lives in another little town over by it. I have a lot of personal history with this town. It is about 14 miles from Lebanon, where we are at. And but my grandmother lived there from 1906 to 1908. And the stories, her mother was a midwife. The town had a lot of strange things happen in it.
Yeah.
When I believe it was 1908, but I'm not positive of that was the year, her sister and 2 or 3 neighbor kids was walking to school, and they discovered that a meteor had hit.
Oh, wow.
And her description of it was in the middle of a pasture, and it was white hot, and it was steaming. And they realized they couldn't get close to it. They ran on into town and told everybody. And it was, some of it had melted from the impact. There's quite a bit of it in the ground, but that is one of the locations that we are also going to be investigating while we are there.
Yep.
And catty corner across the street from the meteor is a cemetery. And there is a minimum, I was told, of about 30 unmarked graves in the cemetery. Some of them was intentionally unmarked. My grandmother told me a story of when the war was going. A lot of the men was gone from Wendyville, and a man came in. They didn't know who he was. He was on a gray horse that had white spots on it, and he sat there by the general store. And this went on for 3 days. He didn't talk to anybody, any of this sort of thing. So what men was left there in town got together, and there was 5 or 6 of them, and they went and approached this man because everybody was afraid of him. They didn't know why he was there. Supposedly, when they demanded that he get down and talk to him, he went for his gun, and these men shot and killed him. Well, his horse was so distinctive looking that they couldn't afford to have it around, and they shot and killed the horse, and they dragged both of them down to the cemetery and buried them. And there has been several sightings of this horse or a horse with a man on it running around in the cemetery. Now, my grandmother told me this back when I was little, but you can look on some of the haunted sites in Missouri, and it will talk of the man being seen on the horse or the horse in the cemetery. Also, supposedly there is a witch buried there in an unmarked grave. I don't know that. My grandma never said anything about it, but I did hear my mom and her sister having a discussion about it one time. But so we're going to be doing investigating at the meteor. It's called Lone Rock.
Okay.
When it first hit, it was just in the middle of a pasture. Now there's some trees around it, and a road has went down through there close to it.
Okay.
And at the cemetery, and then we'll be investigating the general store and the cannery. And while we're investigating, I'll tell some stories that, and some things on it. But we will be doing experiments. Also, Reuben, Liz's husband, has been building some equipment for us.
Cool.
And we will be, it's patents pending on it, but we're all excited about it. I ain't going to say much about it. I'm going to let him introduce it.
Yeah, you know what? I have to be honest, like out of a lot of, like we have a lot of investigations that are going to be happening in the 10 days. But I'm going to be honest, I'm really looking forward to yours because
different.
This place is like not really known. And this is one of the reasons why I started the Global Ghost Hunt, because there's a lot of locations out there that are amazing locations, but just not getting the Waverly Hills, the Penhurst, the Conjuring, the Hinsdale. They're not getting those kind of numbers. So if we bring forth these locations, and a lot of people are watching this and going, you know what? I want to investigate that place. And hopefully that phone call for the woman that owns it is going to start getting a lot of calls where she's going to be able to book. And, because we need these locations to stay up. And they're getting destroyed and they're getting vandalized, and people are unable to, like, if somebody goes in there and breaks a window or does something, and like it costs money to repair.
Since the first of the year, the store's been broken into twice.
Oh, really? Yeah. And that's what I'm talking about. Like, like a lot of these locations that, like, there's a location that I think right off the bat, the Victorian View. Nobody's really heard of this place. And, it looks like an amazing location, and it's going to get recognized by the Global Ghost Hunt, that people are going to see it. And hopefully those people will start getting more calls as well. And this is what the Global Ghost Hunt's about. Yes, the teams are important. Very important. But you know what? And I don't want anybody to take this as a bad thing, but the locations are more important.
Yeah, they matter. Honest. Most definitely.
So they matter. They do matter. And this is one of the reasons why I did this, because there's locations here in Canada that are getting torn down. There was a great hotel that was here that was extremely haunted. Supposedly it got torn down, and now there's a condo there. I feel bad for the people in the condo, but anyways, but Because just because you're getting rid of the building doesn't mean you're getting rid of the spirits. They're
Right.
still going to be there.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm glad you're doing this place. Yeah, and you know, I wish you were earlier in the event. I really do, because I want to see your investigation so badly. Now, knowing that you're going to be doing these experiments as well, it's just more intriguing to watch your video and watch your investigation. I'm looking so forward to it.
I'm very proud of Ruben. He has worked very hard. I'm going to say he started like last July and August putting it together. And he's his own worst critic. I've got it. And he said, well, I don't know. I think, you know, finally I tell him, you know, hey, it seems to be working. But so he is going to introduce it and tell you all about it during the investigation that we do.
And Raymond is going to be there next year, so maybe you can take it. Maybe he can meet up with you guys, and you can take him there.
Well, right smack in the middle of Missouri. You go
Raymond.
3 hours to the east, and you're in St. Louis, and you go 3 hours northwest, and you're in Kansas City.
Yeah,
so,
and Courtney's right. The spirits are important too.
Oh yeah.
They're very important as well, and I don't want to take anything away from that. The spirits that are there, yes, they're important too, because they have stories, they have messages, and they want to let people know what those are. But the haunted locations are very, very important, and we need to keep them.
And the historic significance. This little town at one time was a booming town. They had a couple, 3 miles. It would be south of Windyville. At one time, they had a cannonball factory. It's no longer there. It's not even talked about anymore.
A what kind of factory?
Cannonball factory.
Really?
Yes, they made cannonballs
Wow.
during the war. And but this little town is the population of 51 right now. There's only 51 people that live in this town. And, you know, there's a lot of historic significance to this town.
Yeah, and you get to express that, you get to show that on Global Ghost Hunt, and I'm really hoping that people are going to come out to watch your video, because I think, for me personally, I'm really, really looking forward to it, and it gives me a reason to come out there and to investigate that location. I seem to be getting out to the States a lot more. Unfortunately, as you heard earlier before you guys came on, I always have a problem when I get to the border.
Yeah.
So and I don't know why that is. I'm a sweet guy. I got the face of
they must love you. That's all.
It does make you nervous.
Yeah. So Lex, is it me or is it you?
I do not remember, but I do want to quickly say this.
It's you.
Oh, okay, it's me. I do just want to say this as well, on the point of, like you said, the locations matter. I was going to say, investigation teams are a dime a dozen. There's a million of us. These buildings are one of a kind. So these locations, so that's why they're also so important. But you both made very good points there. So now I want to bring you to, let's have a look. You know,
go to the last one. Go to the last one. Yeah, go to the last question.
Yeah?
Yeah, for sure.
My question.
Yes.
Okay. I was finding a way to work this out to make my question special for your team, because it's personal to everyone. And there was only one way I could do it. And it's nice and simple. Now, I just need to I'm not as good as Bryan with names, so I need to work this out again. So next to Stephen.
Liz,
that's the one. Ah, that's so close. Forgot. Okay, so if the day came where you were given slapped in the face evidence, got undeniable proof, and you brought it to me, and all you had to do to win all the money in the world would be to get Liz to admit that she's no longer an atheist and she believes 100% in the paranormal on camera to me, face to face. And if she did that, I would gift her all the money in the world. But you had to use that money to investigate one location in the world. Where would you go?
It would probably be Lep Castle in Ireland.
Nice.
There you go.
Good one.
You know, and we say this every time we ask this question. For some reason, we don't know why this happens. But when we ask this question to Americans, they usually stay in America. It's
No.
usually the next state over.
My
And
family,
I'm glad you're different on this one for sure.
my family is from Ballycassidy, Ireland. And so like it's my dream to get back to the homeland, eventually.
There you go.
But the historical significance is huge to me. And so I would love to be able to get to Ireland someday and look around and that sort of thing. So
that's cool. Yeah. Who's next?
Next one.
Doesn't matter. You're not going to call us out, Lex. Come on.
Oh, you want me to call you all out? Okay. Next one. This one's easy. I'm going to give all the money in the world to the man with the coolest name, but he has to spend it on a location to investigate. Gage, where you going?
Probably Israel, Mazda.
Nice. That's a new one.
Interesting. Wow, that's a new one.
Yeah,
He's got
that's cool.
So what Lex is doing, he writes down all these names of these different places, and at some point, I don't know when that's going to be. We've had the show for 2 years, and he's still doing it
because we haven't hit 100 yet. That's why.
Yeah. We're doing it on the 100th show. Okay.
Yeah, we're going to tally it up for the 100th show.
So, no, that's a great one. Perfect. That's awesome. That's
awesome.
The first time we've had Israel. I think it's the first. I need to go back through, but I'm pretty sure it is. Ah, good. Great.
Okay.
Choice. Awesome.
Jesse.
Skill test.
To do you, I would pay you all I'd pay you all the money in the world to sit in a room and listen to the noise of a spirit box for 100 hours. But to do that, you'd win all the money in the world to investigate a place. Where are you going?
I'd like to go to the Roman Coliseum.
Ooh, yes.
Nice.
Nice. Another new one. Another new one.
Yeah.
That is a good one. Now, just before we go on to the next person, I will say, Jesse, what you need to get Liz's husbands to do is to build a piece of equipment that you can hook up the SB7 where it cancels out the static noise so it doesn't bother you anymore. And there's actually a piece of equipment out there. It's called the Portal that you hook up your SB7 and it gets rid of the static noise. So that might be something you guys want to maybe make, because I'll be honest, and I'm biased here because, I love the SB7, but the SB7 to me is the best piece of equipment in my mind.
Right.
Okay.
That's just my opinion. So
I've had good results out of it. I really
Yeah.
have. I've been very happy with it.
Who's next? Andrea, did you say you haven't had an experience yet?
I've had experiences, yes, but not that got me into ghost, doing this.
Okay.
What caused
this is a tough one to ask her. So I'm just going to be polite about it. I would like, out of the team, I'd like to gift you just a prize fund of all the money in the world. It's really hard to make up 6 of these. But you have to investigate one location where you go in. Go.
Where am I going? Oh man. Probably back to a house I used to live in when I was about 8. Because I think it was haunted. It was a Worth County home in Worth County, Iowa. 14-room house, used to be a nursing home. Very creepy place. And it's still standing.
Nice. So pocketing the money and going home. That was a good idea.
Yeah, she's smart. She's pocketing all the money. She's smart.
Well, she lived there for 3 years.
Oh, that's cool. No, that's cool.
But I don't remember.
2 more. You got 2 more.
I know. This is really freaking difficult.
You got 2 more, and do you have their names?
Yeah, Stephen and Vicky.
Okay.
I know. Yeah, I'm up here, mate.
Smart
Noodles
ass.
working. Stephen.
Yeah.
Stephen. This is really difficult. Okay, I don't have any. I don't have any more in the juice. If you have to sit there and watch the dowsing rod spin for a year.
A year?
Yeah. And only when it stops, only when it stops, I'll give you the money to investigate a place. But where would you go?
Oh, I don't know. I've always wanted to go to the. Have you guys ever heard of the Brown Lady? I think it's like a place in England. And
Brown Lady.
It's like a ghost.
Lex is also our fat checker.
I'd like to investigate that.
Where the Brown Lady is.
I believe this is in Raynham Hall
Yeah,
The brown
because I
lady.
remember
There's a
seeing
book written
pictures
about
of
her.
like going up steps or descending down them. And
Yeah, she's just
I want to.
Yeah, it's in Norfolk, so yeah, it's in my neck of the woods. Yeah.
Be
Okay,
proud, Lex. Be proud. Look,
trying.
be proud.
Last one.
I thought you were just going to do one for everyone. I didn't realize you were going to do 6 different ones.
Oh, how often do we have this many guests on a show? I'm making it unique to all of you. All right, last one, Vicky.
Okay.
Right, with your yes
I'm
and no.
going to have to take something that when I was in the 6th
She's
grade.
not even letting you ask.
I know. Not
Yeah.
even asked.
Yeah. I'm just
I had
gonna
one
do-
for her as well.
That's awesome.
So you want me to spin the dowsing rods for a year? Is that what
Nope.
you want?
Nope.
Lex has got a perfect one.
I do have a nice one for you, actually. With your yes or no coins,
That's
if you
right.
were to flick it up in the air, and as it landed, it's turned into all the money in the world magically. Where are you going to investigate?
Well, I choose a place that I have felt drawn to since about the 6th grade, and that is the Bell Witch Cave. I have I had learned about it in the history, and Andrew or President Jackson being there. I just have always felt drawn. I've even had a couple of dreams of a woman telling me I needed to come. I needed to come there. So that's probably what I would do. I have never had the opportunity to go there. So
I
that's
haven't heard of
probably what
that
I
place.
would
Where
do.
is that place?
In
It's
Tennessee.
in Tennessee.
Also in Nashville.
I was in Tennessee last October. Why didn't I hear about this place?
Oh, the president went there and he was scared
It's in
off.
Nashville.
He left in the middle of the night.
I'm gonna have to. I'm gonna have to speak to Adam and tell him, why didn't you take us? Are you allowed in this place?
Yeah.
Yes.
It's a tourist.
Yeah,
It's-
I believe
it's a
the ghost
state park.
hunters went through
Yeah.
it, didn't they?
Yes, it's a state park now as well.
Yeah, Jason and Grant went there.
Oh wow!
Got to get there,
Interesting.
Brian. Got to get
Interesting.
there.
Yeah, well, I'm planning on going back to down to Tennessee at some point because that's when last October I was there. Was it October or November? I think it was October. I went to Bobby Mackey's and I
Oh, okay.
also did Octagon Hall,
Oh, okay.
and great. Bobby Mackey's Octagon Hall
I
was
was gonna
amazing.
say between the two, it would be Octagon.
Oh,
The ghost.
Bobby Mackey's. The only
Mhm.
thing that was scary in there was the actual wires coming out of the ceilings and the floors.
Okay.
That's the only thing that was scary there. And we've talked about this. We had a show about this, but we've also talked about this on several different shows. Because I saw the post in the other day. Somebody was doing an event or something like that at Bobby Mackey's, which is fine. I think the rich history of the people that have been through there, not only the musically, but also paranormal investigators.
Mhm.
But out of a scale of 1 to 10 for Bobby Mackey's, I give it about a 3.
think
Only
there's-
because we did capture some EVPs there. We did. We captured some interesting moments, but I will tell people, and I'm going to continually tell people, there is absolutely no way there's a gate to hell in that place. No, I'm
And
sorry.
see, I have always felt that there wasn't there.
Yeah.
But I
And
did
we
feel
actually,
it was
we actually did an
activity.
EVP. We did an EVP session down in interesting. I didn't know that. They have now closed off Carl's apartment now, which was upstairs.
Oh, okay.
Why? Did they say
I wonder-
why?
Yeah, I'm curious why they did that. Because if you go up to his apartment, first of all, it's like it's like it's like a disaster, like a tornado hit it. And there's a table in Carl's room where that's full of money and full of cigarettes that people have been leaving for Carl. But I'm kind of curious why they closed it off. I would imagine the floor didn't feel like it was very safe.
Something unsafe about it. or
The bathtub, the bathtub had about 4 inches of dirt in it, and it was gross. It's gross upstairs. There you go. See, there you go. That's why.
Yeah.
Structure.
instability.
structure. And I'll be honest, like, and I've said this again, I've said this many times, that I have no idea how that place is still open. It's got so many different code violations in that place. They have to be paying off the town to stay
I
open.
was gonna say they've been hyped up so much that they're a moneymaker for the town. I guarantee it.
Oh,
Sounds
oh
loud.
yeah, for sure, for sure. And the amount they
You'd
charge
think,
for
though, they would try
5
to
hours
keep it
is
up a little
ridiculous.
bit to keep
What's
it going.
that?
You would think they would try to keep the place up a little bit to keep it going.
Of course,
you
Ray
know.
Raymond. Of course, Raymond's still going back. He's going back in October. Yeah, you know what? For the amount of money this guy probably makes. Now, keeping in mind the bar's only open 2 days a week. It's open on
Right.
Friday and Saturdays, and I'm surprised they're allowed open. And to be honest, and I'm going to continue saying this so I can get this out there to say that there is nothing demonic at Bobby Mackey's. Absolutely nothing. And it annoys me when you see a thumbnail saying, I got attacked by a demonic entity at Bobby Mackey. No, you didn't.
Right.
You know,
I
but
have been investigating for 46 years, and I can count on one hand how many demonic issues and circumstances I have came into. It just, I'm sorry. Angry spirits, confused spirits, but demonic.
Maybe demonic. I think a lot of times when we walk into a location and something happens, if a plate is moved, they automatically think it's poltergeist.
Right.
No, you could just be pissing a spirit off that doesn't want you there.
Right.
You know, but anyhow, it is what it is. What are you going to say, Liz? What was that?
I was going to say, I have a theory as to why everybody jumps on the demon bandwagon, so to speak.
Yeah.
I think it's just a lack of misunderstanding. I mean, especially in the area that we are, it's very high population of Christianity, and they were taught, that if it's not of this world, it must not be good,
right.
I guess. And so I think a lot of people just quickly assume that it must be a demon. It must be a demon, and they don't understand that energy is something that never dies. It just goes on, and there's a good chance that it's not the demon at all. It's just that's what you've been taught. That's what you believe, and therefore you bring it to fruition almost. If you think it's a demon, it's going to be mean. It's going to do bad things, and that sort of thing. And that's just my theory. I think people just assume because they don't know better.
Yeah, I think your Eamon's right. It's a scare factor as well.
I also think that's a good thing that we'll touch up on the faker segment shortly as well.
Yes. Now, if you guys want to stick around for this segment, this is our new segment we've been doing for a couple of months. This is Lex's segment on fakers. You guys want to stick around and you can give your 2 cents. You can give your 2 cents if you want to. But we are now going to start our God, I love that. I love that. I love it. I love it.
It is cool.
So Lex apparently has a doozy one this week.
We have a fun one this week.
What's that?
It's a fun one this week.
Let's do it. Yeah, let's see Rosanna. What's that Rosanna saying?
Let's do it.
Yeah.
So the other night I was a little bit bored. Decided I'm gonna flick on some Twin Paranormal. A group that I really liked when they first started out. I still actually like them. I think they put out nice videos. I just can't decide how much of a percentage of it they're faking or not. Because a lot of the stuff they get is quite good. It's not demon throwing a chair good, but it's, they get knocks, they get sounds, footsteps, communication through devices. It seems quite legit. But I do know they have done a video with Omar before, and that makes me question it. I know they've done a video with Exploring with Josh, which makes me question it because we all know both those channels like to, especially Omar likes to fabricate shit. So I don't know where they sit on them. But what made me laugh the other night, I was flicking through their new videos, and they'd just been to Octagon Hall. Now, this piqued my interest because I knew that Raymond had just been there. within the same time they were there. So
Oh.
yeah, so this was quite a great one. So decided, I was like, you know what, we'll watch it. I know what Raymond's told me about the place. You know, I've seen the clips. Let's have a look at this. Let's have a look at this. And they are not 5 seconds in the door when they get scratched by something, or one of them gets scratched by something, all up his stomach. And I thought, well, I need to ask Raymond about the demon activity in Octagon Hall, because I've not read anything about a demon in Octagon Hall.
There isn't.
I've had Bryan tell me there isn't. So I spoke to Raymond, who also said there's nothing there. In fact, he laughed at the idea. But I thought it was quite funny. And this is what I like about the demon thing, because the title of the video was The Night the Demon Attacked Us. And their previous week's worth of videos have been The Night the Demon Almost Killed Me, The Night a Demon Did This, Confronting a Demon. And that's what I want to talk to people about Twin Paranormal today. So I can't sit here and say that they are definitely fabricating their evidence. I can say they're definitely fabricating their titles. And they're doing that thing that makes everyone suspicious, is using the D word in every video. Now, I'm much like this every skeptic in the world. I think the word demon is very much misconstrued to what they actually are. Mm-hmm. And the chances of running into one, you have more chance of being struck by lightning in the same year that you win the lottery. Mm. They're very far and few in between. They're not as common as everyone seems to make out they are.
Right.
So did they run into an angry spirit? Maybe. Did they run into a murderous spirit? Most definitely. Did they run into Lilith the demon? Fucking no. No, they didn't.
And, now, I'm sorry, I'm going to interject here. Now, in Octagon Hall, if there's anything that's pissed off, there is a possible pissed off spirit there. And I'm going to tell you who that is. Okay. But they were on the main floor, right? Mm-hmm. There is a guy that stayed in Octagon Hall back years and years and years ago when it was originally open. And unfortunately, I'm going to say this, folks, he was a pedophile. Okay. So he got killed because of what he was doing to kids that were there. Now, what I will say is he's not allowed to leave the floor. So there's no way he would have been allowed. There's no way he would have been on the main floor. So whatever spirits are there are keeping him upstairs on the top floor. He's not allowed downstairs. So that would be the closest thing that would have been maybe a pissed off spirit. So, I just wanted to say that. I just wanted to mention that.
And I will say this. If you do watch, I watch a lot of Twin Paranormal. Because they are the most polite people you ever see doing investigations. They're so respectful to the places. They're respectful to what they're talking to. If they're trying to, if they're not faking it, they're really respectful guys. And some of the reactions seem genuine to the stuff they catch. I watched one last night where a balloon got pulled down in a hallway by itself, and it actually went down a flight of stairs. And they have the cameras on all areas of the stairs, and you can see no one's holding it. You can't even see string in the lights. So I'm very on the fence where they are. But it's the exaggeration of this. The demon word is what I think makes them lose credibility if they aren't faking it. Because I don't understand what makes people think you're going to click on it by including the word. Because I know I won't. I watch all their videos because I like the two guys who do it.
Right.
Because of the way they approach their investigations. I like to think that I learned my mannerisms of how to approach investigating and the way I speak to spirits. I was probably influenced a little bit by them because I was watching them before I started doing this. Same with Mindseed. The way I edit my videos is probably done like theirs, except I don't fake mine. Mindseed definitely do. But it's a weird line. So if you guys want to check out their video on Octagon Hall, it's one of the most recent ones. I recommend it.
I watched 5 minutes of it and I said, "This is ridiculous."
It's the scratch, isn't it?
Off. Yeah,
they got so much stuff. They got so much stuff throughout the night.
Yeah,
but the scratch doesn't make sense. But yes, I thought.
But I will say, Lex, I will say this though: when we were there, from the minute we arrived up to the minute we left, we were experiencing activity the whole night.
Yeah, they said that in the video as well. They said it.
Yeah, what's really cool is when I was outside with Patty and they were in that separate hut outside. Patty went in there just to film the little hut. It's got a fireplace and a kitchen. This was at 10 to 9 in the morning, so it's daylight. She went in there and she captured an EVP on her camera, and it was incredible. And that was at 10 to 9, 5 minutes before we were leaving. So the minute we arrived, we walked through the door, and we were all standing upstairs in the main hallway because a lot of us were looking at the pictures, because they got a lot of famous people of pictures on the wall. And me and Adam were listening to Bear talk, who's the tour guide for the Octagon Hall. He was telling us something, and me and Adam both heard it. We both heard it at the same time. It sounded like somebody was being dragged along the basement floor, and they were wearing chains.
Jeez.
And when we went downstairs, and he was talking about downstairs, what goes on in the tack room and stuff like that, we heard chains clinging, like clicking together, clinging together. And I said, I'm hearing chains clinging together. So we went in the tack room, and one of the chains was slightly moving. And there's no wind downstairs. It was very calm outside. Nothing was open. No windows were open, nothing. And so Patty tried to reenact the chains clinging together, and it was the exact same noise
that you were getting.
That we heard.
That's cool.
And it was like, this place is awesome. Now, what's great about this place, and I let Raymond know, that they have security cameras everywhere. So if you guys ever go there by chance, watch the security cameras. And if you see something in the security cameras, what they'll do for you is you write it down, the time, the date, who you are, and they will send you that footage.
Timestamp it. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Okay.
And, if you want to take a tour of this place, it's $5.
Oh, wow.
Well, that's good.
It's $5. And then on top of that, when we went there were 6 of us. We started at 4:00 in the afternoon, and we were finished at 9 in the morning. It cost us $300.
That's not bad.
And it was incredible. And I will say, Octagon Hall isn't given enough credit for probably being one of the most active places in the States.
Yeah, it doesn't help with people doing these stupid videos on it.
Exactly. And that was we gray minds think alike. I was just about to say that.
So and that is why I wanted to bring them up today. So again, I'm going to keep doing this till someone responds to it, by the way. If any of you in the chat watch their channel, please let them know I've done it. But this is an open invitation to Ryan or River from Twin Paranormal to come and speak to us on here. And let me know if you're faking it or not. I want to know. And I've invited everyone I spoke about to do it, and no one has the brass. So, again, it's an open invitation. I will be polite. We just want to have a chat and convince me you're not lying, because I actually rate the channel. So convince me. But again,
I'm actually interested to find out from the group here, what are their thoughts on fakers and people that are doing what they're doing in our field, that are literally, in my opinion, destroying it. What are your thoughts?
It is really tearing down any progress that we've made. It wears on people, and they start, if they're faking it, more than likely they are, and it's just, we have come fairly far. I mean, when I was my grandmother talked to me about me being a dreamer. She told me, she said, don't tell anybody about it because you're going to be better off. But we're talking in the 60s. And she was right. Yeah, if I'd went talking about it, how it would have been. And now we got stuff on television, and we've got validation through a lot of things that we do. And when you have people go in and do stuff like this, it tears down what progress we have made in this field with 100%. Getting it out to people. And it, to me, I can't stand it. It drives me crazy. And all this demonic thing is just frustrating. It's just very
It is.
frustrating.
It is. And to answer Courtney, no one ever wants to come on here and confront me when I bitch about them. I mean,
No.
Jody Dean made a video about me once. That was quite funny. And he didn't want to name me in the video, but he got a nice response back, and he decided not to talk to me about it anymore, and he's not said anything. And Dina, yeah,
Do
The
they
Shape
know
is a
who
great
Jody
channel.
Dean is? Do you know who Jody Dean is?
Hunting
Vicky
the Dead.
in your group there?
Who?
I don't.
Jody Dean?
He's from the channel Hunting the Dead, friends with all the Florida lot, like Oh My Gosh and everyone like that. He's in that circle.
Okay.
But he's also the most arrogant wannabe Zach Baggins I've ever seen in my life. He's even got his own haunted mansion that he shows people. He's painted it jet black because it wasn't scary enough to look at. So he was like, oh, I'm going to paint it all black.
So he made it look ominous. Yeah.
Yeah, he's an absolute twat.
So Dina and Lex would get along really, really well because Lex is a fan of The Shape.
Yeah, I watched The Shape as well. I really like The Shape. Again, he's not rude about the way he debunks channels. And you know, he does admit when he's wrong. And he's tried to debunk Twin Paranormal twice. And again, he's only given like two things that are like, oh, the backpack was placed in a really not obvious way, and now they've revealed a pentagram underneath it. Like, it's not concrete that they've debunked it, but the rest of he does get people quite well. So I do love The Shape, and I would love to have The Shape on here one day and talk about debunking with us, because we have had a debunker on here before. So yeah, I 100% rate The Shape, but yeah, I'd love it if one of these people that I call out come on here.
Just come back at you. Come on there.
Just defend yourself,
Right.
Especially the bigger channels, the ones that are robbing people of money because they're lying.
Right.
They're the ones I have a massive issue with, like the ones who created their own Randonautica like app called Scaranoia. Again, that's Jody Dean and Omar. They made their own one.
Yeah.
We called out Jody Dean pretty bad. Last year or the year before? Last year? No, it was the year before. Our first year.
Oh yeah.
Our first year doing this. We had a real problem with Mr. Dean going to somebody's graveyard and sitting on the graveyard and leaning up against the headstone like he owned the place.
Yeah, he sat on the grave and just leaned back on it, if I remember.
Yeah, and then profiting from that.
Yeah.
And absolutely disgusting. And we called him out on it. And
Very
we did a show on him. And he did a video the next day and called us out. And then he thinks he's smart. He's not really that smart. And so he tried to give these hidden little signals that he was talking about us. Well, I'm from Toronto. He's from Florida, and he was wearing a Toronto Raptors hat. So, you know, I'm not stupid, but Lex came back. Lex came back with a fantastic video. Yeah, I think it pretty well shut him up pretty quickly. And but he doesn't like either of us. He really doesn't like either of us because we talk about him at least every other show.
I'll tell you what, Mr. Dean, I will stop talking about you if you
come on the
stop lying to everybody. Come on this
or
show.
If he comes on the show.
Or come on the show. Come and talk to me like a man. Come on.
Yeah. Little pipsqueak.
Anyway, that wraps me up for the week, everybody.
Anyways, I want to thank. Here you go. The test. I want to thank Vicky. I want to thank Steven. I want to thank Liz. I want to thank Jesse. I want to thank Andrea. Thank you. Actually, in Canada, that would be Andrea. There you go.
Yes,
So, and then obviously Gage.
Doesn't
So
sound as good unless I say it, Brian.
What?
Doesn't sound as good unless I say it, does it?
Does it actually? So I want to thank you for coming up on today's show. I really, like I said earlier, I'm really looking forward to seeing your investigation. And I hope people are going to watch you. It's going to be on May 14th, which is the last day of the event. It's going to be it starts at 7 and goes till 9 Eastern. So you definitely want to check out this group. And I'm really hoping that your group really gets out there and the haunted location gets out there too. You're a great bunch, and I can see why you all work together. And I'm looking forward to it. I want to say my goodbyes, and then Lex can,
Yeah, to all of you, thank you so much for giving us your time tonight. We've had a great laugh up here, great chat, and I think we've all got to know you all a little bit better. Hopefully, some of you will see straight and realize that the paranormal is real, but we'll find that out in the future. But I'm very much looking forward to seeing your investigation for the global ghost hunt. Can't wait to see these experiments. And again, keep going in the way you're going. You're definitely a huge, huge positive force in the paranormal community. And we hope that we can highlight you with this show to get you more and more people, more eyes on you, and to get you more involved. But thank you so much for coming up here today and talking to us.
I appreciate you having us. Yeah, I do. It gives us a chance to explain what we're doing and where we're going and that type of thing. And I really appreciate you having us on here.
Nice. Always a pleasure.
Thanks, guys. Have a great rest of the day, and we'll see you soon, okay?
All right.
Okay, good night.
No.
Wow, that was awesome. I've spoken to Vicky on several different occasions through Messenger, and she seems like a really, really great person, and obviously they have a great team, and it's always nice seeing a good team that works together and are going to do great and wonderful things. And she's been in the industry for what I think she said 46 years. Like
Jesus,
like that says a lot. Yeah, please, Courtney, and I hope they had a good time, because we had a good time. And for people listening on the podcast, if you want to go over and check out and see what they look like, you can go over to YouTube Through the Lens with Bryan and Lex. Very, very easy to find. And I want to thank everybody that came in the room today. I really appreciate it, and we definitely appreciate your support. I want to thank Paralinks for everything they do for us, for our show as well. And everybody was amazing today. They really were. And there was a lot of comments going on here, and wow, just fabulous. And I can't believe we're coming up on our 100th show.
I know.
Like, this was 97. We got 3 more shows, 2 more shows till we hit 100, and it's 2 years. 2 years.
2 years.
Over 2 years. And but we have a great guest next week. I'm really, really looking forward to sitting down with and talking with her. She's a channel writer. She writes poems. She's also very, very much into the paranormal, and her name is Shannon. She also goes by Velma, and looking forward to having her come on the show next week. So you definitely do not want to miss that.
Yep, so make sure you're here, guys.
Yeah. So I'm going to say my goodbyes. Thank you again for everybody that came into the room today to check out Abyss Paranormal. Lex?
Yeah, thank you very much for everyone in the chat for joining us. Thank you for your input. Thank you to Abyss Paranormal for coming on. And again, thank you to Bryan for accompanying me on this lovely talk show, 97 episodes in. Thank you to everyone listening on the podcast, and we'll see you next Sunday. So don't forget, till then, stay safe, stay spooky.